My dead sister has been texting me for 2 years. Tonight, she said, "I'm coming home." I thought the hardest part about losing my sister would be identifying her body after the crash. The car was so mangled, they had to use dental records, but I was wrong about what would haunt me. The real nightmare started 3 days after we buried her, when my phone lit up at 3:17 a.m. with a text from Zoe's number. "Miss you already." I figured someone found her phone at the crash site. Maybe a paramedic trying to be helpful, maybe a cop who needed to contact family. Her phone should have been destroyed in the fire anyway. I saw the flames myself, but the messages kept coming every night at exactly 3:17 a.m. It's so cold here. Then, I can't find the light everyone talks about. Then, why won't anyone help me? I showed the text to my parents, but they said I was making it up, that grief was making me see things that weren't there. They forced me to see a therapist. Dr. Hayes told me trauma manifests in different ways, that my brain was creating these messages as a coping mechanism. I almost believed him until the photos started arriving 2 weeks later. The first image was blurry, taken in what looked like a basement, something pale and surgical on a metal table. I couldn't make out details, but it made my stomach turn. I tried calling the number, Zoe's number, but it went straight to a voicemail that was just breathing. Found some pieces today. The next photo was clearer. A hand, severed at the wrist, placed carefully on the same metal table. The skin was gray, the fingernails painted black, Zoe's signature color. But Zoe was cremated. I was there. I watched them slide her body into the furnace. Remember how I always said I'd come back for you? The messages started coming with timestamps, always at 3:17 a.m., always accompanied by photos that got progressively more disturbing. An arm stitched to a shoulder, legs attached to a torso with thick black thread, eyes floating in a jar of yellow liquid. I started working night shifts at the county morgue just to get away from the house, from the timing of those messages. That's when I realized where the pieces were coming from. Bodies would come in perfect, then leave with small parts missing. A finger here, a section of skin there. Nothing anyone would notice unless they were looking for it. Your job is making this so much easier. The photo that came with that message showed the morgue's back door. Someone had been watching me. I installed security cameras around my house, changed my locks, even got a gun, but the messages kept coming, and the photo showed she was getting closer to completion. Last Tuesday's image showed a full torso, arms attached, sitting upright on the table. Wednesday showed legs being sewn on with surgical precision. Thursday was a neck, head tilted at an impossible angle. Friday showed a face, Zoe's face, but wrong. Too pale, too perfect, like it had been carved rather than grown. Almost ready to see you. Saturday's photo was taken in my backyard. I recognized my fence, my garden gnome, my neighbor's dog sleeping in the corner. Something had been in my yard, taking pictures while I slept upstairs. Yesterday morning, I found wet footprints on my kitchen floor leading from the back door to the basement stairs. The prints were too big to be Zoe's. She was only 5 feet 4 inches. These looked like they came from someone over 6 feet tall. When I followed them downstairs, I found surgical tools arranged on my workbench and a calendar with dates circled in red ink. Today's date was circled with the words "final piece" written underneath. That evening, the text came earlier than usual, 9:47 p.m. instead of 3:17 a.m. "I'm coming home tonight. I just need one more thing." The photo showed me sleeping in my own bed, taken from inside my bedroom. In the corner of the image, barely visible, was a figure holding surgical instruments. The figure had Zoe's face, but attached to a body that was clearly stitched together from different people. Too tall, arms too long, skin that didn't quite match at the seams. I grabbed my gun and searched every room, every closet, every possible hiding place. Nothing. But when I got back to my bedroom, there was another message waiting. "You left the basement door unlocked." I ran downstairs and found the surgical tools missing from my workbench. In their place was a note in Zoe's handwriting. "I saved the best piece for last. Your heart always belonged to me anyway." As I read those words, I heard footsteps upstairs. Slow, deliberate, wrong, like someone learning how to walk in a body that wasn't theirs. "Zoe?" I called out. The footsteps stopped. My phone buzzed with one final message. "I'm home."